life for the very first time through a different lens. Yesterday I didn't understand. Driving 35 with the rocket inside, didn't know what I had. Well, I've been waiting all night. My life's been waiting on me. So I'm gonna run. No, I'm gonna fly. I'm gonna know what it means to live and not just be alive. The world's gonna hear, 'cause I'm gonna shout. And I'll be dancing when circumstances drown the music out. Say I won't.
Hello everyone, thank you for viewing this segment of Purpose Me. I'm here with Miss April Saul. How are you doing today?
Doing fine.
I'm here to interview her. Miss April, thank you so much for doing this interview with me.
Oh, no problem.
So what is your profession?
Okay, I'm a photojournalist.
Okay.
I take pictures and I write.
Okay, great. Who or what inspired you to enter this field?
Ooh, that's a good one. Well, growing up, my mom was a writer. My mom became a reporter and an editor, and she was like in her 40s, actually, like late in life. So I watched her do that, and I think I got hooked on it. You know, I worked in her newspaper office.
Okay.
And I worked for the school newspaper. So I loved writing, and then I got into photography in college.
Okay, great. What was your past experience that brought you to where you're at today? Like, you said you worked in photojournalism in college.
Yeah.
And then you had some past jobs?
I was an English major at Tufts University, and then I did graduate school at the University of Minnesota, and they had a great student newspaper. We went all around the country on assignments. Then after that, I went to the Baltimore Sun, and then shortly after that, the Philadelphia Inquirer.
Oh,
and
wow, Philadelphia Inquirer.
Yeah, I was at the Inquirer for like 34 years.
Oh, wow.
So a long time.
Oh, wow. What are you currently working on now?
Well, I had one-year fellowship, an Alicia Patterson fellowship, to document life in Camden.
Okay.
That was 2014. So I spent a year doing that in Camden, and after that, I just decided to stay in Camden. So I took a buyout, left the Inquirer, and now I cover Camden. I cover Camden for WHYY and for New Jersey Spotlight, and for my Facebook page, Camden, New Jersey, A Spirit Invincible, if anybody wants to go look at it.
Oh, great.
So I'm just in that community, you know.
Okay, okay, that's great. So, so you say you do work in Camden.
That's kind of where my heart is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Last year was a whirlwind of events. One of the things that happened last year unfortunately, was the death of George Floyd. That had sparked a lot of protests around the country. Making tension between residents and the police. A lot of footage that you saw on the news and everything, you saw a whole lot of tension going on between the residents and the law enforcement. Excuse me.
Right.
The tension between the residents and law enforcement.
Right, in a lot of places. Yeah.
In a lot of places, but something special happened in Camden. Something different.
Right.
Because they had a protest in Camden. But when the protest happened, they had a protest where the law enforcement was marching with the protest.
Right.
And you had captured that on camera.
Right.
What was that experience like?
Right. And it was really different from some of my friends who were in places like Minneapolis, photographing in really dangerous situations where people were passionate. And it was very peaceful in Camden. It was great. I think that was definitely some credit to the police that they played it that way, and that I think that Chief Wysocki, who was in my pictures, who was the chief at the time, is a really good guy, and really was very well liked there. And I think they've finally gotten around to doing the kind of community policing in Camden they bragged about it for a few years before they really were doing it.
Yeah.
And I think right now people are much happier with the policing there. So for me, it was really, like, I think a happy day for me to see that.
Yeah.
And not see and have Camden, like, be different,
Yes.
because partly I cover Camden because I don't like the narratives about Camden. People say, oh, most violent city in the country, and I think in the way that they handled themselves in that moment, really made me proud.
It
you
was,
know?
yes.
Yeah, I think
it made me, as a Camden native myself,
Yeah.
it made me proud to see that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, unfortunately, Camden gets a whole lot of bad press
It does.
in the media.
Yeah.
So it's like, the violence, the drugs, or this or that, or property,
Yeah.
or whatever. So it was nice to see that moment, Camden leading the way, where, like you said, in other places, it was just a whole bunch of violence going on between law enforcement residents, that you had that place in Camden that was where law enforcement was marching with the protesters and saying that we support you.
Right.
And it's journalists like you that really help, and I appreciate, because you was able to capture that on film.
Well, it was really funny, Seth, because after it happened, like, AP asked me for the picture, and they said they couldn't pay me for it. I was like, oh, I don't care. It went all over the world. Like, it was like in newspapers halfway around the globe. So it was interesting to see how far that picture traveled.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Because it made its way on major newscasters and things.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What was some of your most rewarding experiences as a photojournalist? Some of the awards that you receive, or just rewarding moments?
I mean, like, awards are okay. You don't always get them at the time. Like, the thing that I won a Pulitzer for is not, like, something that was, like, I considered my finest work. So you get them when you get them. I think some of the highlights, I did a column on gun violence in Philadelphia in 2006, where I wrote and photographed about every kid under 18 who was killed by guns that year. That was 24 kids. I did actually get a community service award for that, but the thing about that, I think, was that that made it rewarding was that the families seemed so happy that someone noticed that their child was gone, and eager to talk about the kind of kid he or she was, and and recognize that. So I think moments like that, I stay in touch with people. I did a big story on a boy, George Cartagena, who was blinded by a stray bullet in Camden, and that was in 2011. And a couple days ago, I was at his house. He just had a baby, and we're still friends. So wow. I kind of sometimes I stay in touch with people. And I really enjoy that too, and definitely with the Camden page on Facebook. I'm very responsible to the community, and I really like the fact that I'm accountable there, and that they can come to me with story ideas, and they can not like something I wrote and tell me about it, and I can have to defend it, and that there's that exchange going on.
So you actually build a relationship with a lot of the people that you have photographed and did reports on.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I feel like that's really important. When I was coming up in photography, they used to say you had to be a fly on the wall and not get involved, and I don't think that's true. I think you have to give something of yourself if you're going to expect people to let you into their lives.
Yes, that's great. If you can look at the camera and give a word of encouragement to a particular person or a group of people, who would it be, first of all?
I don't know. Let's see. It could be young people getting into photojournalism. Because it's so tough, and I would tell them, if you love it, hang in there, and be passionate, and keep on with it. And I guess it could also be the people of Camden, because how much they go through, and they need to hang in there too, because they deserve better than a lot of the way they've been treated.
Okay.
So.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for doing this interview with me. It was a lovely interview. I liked a lot of things you talked about. So thank you so much for watching this edition of Purpose Me, and thanks again to Miss April Saul. Thank you. God bless. Oh, hey everybody. Thank you so much for watching the Purpose Me interviews. If you or someone you know has an amazing story to tell and you would like to share it with us, feel free to contact me at readysetpurpose@gmail.com. Again, the email is readysetpurpose@gmail.com. Thank you so much for watching these interviews, and God bless.